With the defeat of Trump Care, progressives are now looking to shift the conversation on health care back to the left, where it should be. Now, Senator Bernie Sanders is now planning to introduce a single-payer health care bill in the Senate. I love this. Now, during a town hall on Saturday, Bernie Sanders said he plans to introduce this Medicare For All bill within a couple of weeks. Now, he said, quote, "It's a common sense proposal, and I think once the American people understand it, we can go forward with it." Now, of course, that depends on the media, on whether or not they actually report this as they should. Now, it was a big problem, of course, when it came to media during the presidential primary, for example, when they were misreporting what was going on with Sanders' healthcare proposal. Oh, it's so vague. We don't know the details. No. There were details on this. They were clearly detailed, especially how much money people would save under the Bernie Sanders Medicare For All health program. But anyway, now you also have Peter Welch. Now, Peter Welch is also a Democrat from Vermont, and he said that during the same town hall that he would also introduce the same bill in the House. So now we've got a Senate version, we got a House version that's coming up. So on that quote, he said, "Well, it's a goal in this Congress. We know we won't pass it, but I think we do have to keep the goal out there, because we need in this country, like any industrialized country, a healthcare system that is affordable, accessible, and universal." All the stuff that Donald Trump, ironically, had promised his ACA replacement would actually be. Now, on Sunday, I want to show you an interview that Bernie Sanders did on CNN, where he also reiterated his call during a discussion about the developments in the ACA and the ACA replacement. Let's take a look.
The president, as you heard, is trying to blame Democrats for the GOP failure to repeal and replace Obamacare, but he also said that he'd be willing to work with you and Democrats in the Senate and House on a solution. So given that, and given the fact that you have long said that there are problems with Obamacare, and the president wants to work with you, but obviously doesn't want to go as far as you do, insurance for everyone, do you think that you can take your position and take his position, and you can actually pick up the phone and reach out to him and say, at least let's fix what's happening now?
Well, Donna, let me just begin by saying this. The bill that was defeated should have been defeated. It was a disastrous piece of legislation primarily designed to provide $300 billion in tax breaks to the top 2%, throwing 24 million people off of health insurance, raising premiums for older workers in a very, very significant way. It was defeated. The American people wanted it defeated, and I'm glad that we're able to accomplish that. Now, as you indicated, of course, Obamacare has serious problems. Deductibles are too high. Premiums are too high. The cost of health care is going up at a much faster rate than it should. Ideally, where we should be going is to join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a right. And that's why I'm going to introduce a Medicare for All single-payer program.
Boom. There it is. Now, see, this is what this whole thing is called. It's called framing the conversation. That's what he's trying to do. Now, of course, Trump and the Republicans, they're not going to vote for this. It's probably not even going to get out to the floor. It might not even pass committee, but that's not even the point. The point is to start the conversation and to get Republicans on the record either for or against legislation that Americans are and have been ready for. Oh, now let me explain. Now, the American people wanted not only to save the ACA, but they also wanted to primarily fix it and even expand it. Now, Medicare is one of course, the most popular programs in America, as borne out by polling. You just look it up. All the polls have it at like over 80% popularity. People like their Medicare. And so, why? Well, it's because it's guaranteed health care. It's also cheaper and more efficient than dealing with private insurance companies. There are costs, but there will always be some sort of costs. And right now, we spend billions on healthcare, and we actually get less out of it than other countries that do have single-payer systems. We spend more, we get less. You know what that's called? You know what that's called? It's called being screwed. It's called being ripped off. We're being ripped off by insurance companies so they can continue to put profits right back into their pocket. So they can buy an extra yacht or something. That's not cool. That's why we need a single payer option, because look, you shouldn't be making money off people's health. That is not something that needs to be done. That's not something that we should be doing. And most other countries, they get it. We, however, do not get it because our politicians are paid to not get it. Most politicians, except for Bernie Sanders, of course. Now, the Democrats right now, and I tweeted this over the weekend, they need to get on this, right? If you don't get on this, if you don't start saying, hey, we've got a plan, it's called single payer, and presenting it to the country, well, then you deserve the mantle of the stupid party. Because it's stupid to not take advantage of this. Again, the American people, throughout all sorts of town halls, were saying, hey, don't break the ACA. Don't break it. What we need to do is we need to fix it. We need to expand it. Don't fuck with it in the bad way. Don't replace it with something horrible. Replace it. If you're going to replace it, well, don't replace it. Expand it. Expand it. Expand it. Expand it. We want something better. We want everybody to be covered. We want lower premiums. We don't want to pay as much. We want better coverage. All this stuff. And this can only be guaranteed by going to a single-payer Medicare for All system. Now, I do have to give credit to one Democrat, at least, Peter Welch. And any of the other Democrats, I haven't heard of any other ones, but there are other Democrats out there that support the single-payer plan and are coming out public and saying, yes, I'm supporting this. I will vote for this. Big props to you. That's what we want to see. Because not only is it good policy, it's also politically smart. Now, if the Democrats united around single-payer, that's going to be, I think, a major message to the American people. We saw the Republican plan. It failed. Now here's our plan. Here's our real plan. Obamacare was just a stepping stone. Obamacare's got some issues. It has some problems, but we know how to fix that. We know that the only way to bring down your premiums is to present, first, I believe, a public option. Expand Medicare to people who want to buy in. And then over time, phase in Medicare for All as the insurance companies become less and less popular, since they probably will not be able to compete. Now, for some of you who might be saying, but people don't want Medicare for All. They don't want government insurance. What are you talking about? Well, in 2016, this is the most recent poll that I could find. Gallup asked Americans about Obamacare. Now, and single payer. So there are three different options in this poll. Federally funded single payer system, repeal Obamacare, and keep the ACA. Okay, well, it turns out that over half of all Americans polled wanted single payer, federally funded single payer healthcare, including 75% of all Democrats and 41% of all Republicans. Now, that's a major number, because remember, there were less people that were, less Republicans that were interested in saving Obamacare, saving the ACA, and there were, of course, a lot more that wanted repeal. But taken together with the Democrats and Republicans and independents, more Americans said, let's do a federally funded single-payer healthcare program. Makes sense. 41% of all Republicans are Republican-leading independents. That's more than enough to get a majority. So most of the American people, they do want it, over half. And as we explain, as Bernie Sanders continues to promote this and bring the idea up and explain the idea, what it means, how much money you're going to save, that number is only going to go up, not down. So look, Democrats, we've already saved the ACA for now. But it's not the time to sit on your ass. It's not the time to sit and celebrate. Okay? Now is the time to push further, to get people fired up for single payer. Remind voters that this is the kind of legislation that you want to fight for in 2018. Again, it's politically smart and it's also good policy. And remind them that the Republican alternative that was worse, that was more right-wing health care, failed to pass. And another reason, of course, is that the problems with the ACA, they're not going to go away now. Just because at the moment it is safe, it doesn't take away from those problems. Higher premiums, right? High deductibles, companies that are pulling out of states, leaving fewer insureds on the exchanges. Those are real issues. Now, Democrats, if you stay with the status quo, the Republicans can and will use that against you. Trump even said it. Obamacare, it's exploding. Let's let it explode. It's the Democrats' fault. Well, now what you need to do to get ahead of that is to propose a fix, to propose doing something better. And I believe that is expanding, or saying that we want to eventually expand the ACA into a Medicare for All single-payer system. And if you elect us, we can do that. Politically, not only will the policy benefit you, it's going to be super popular, but the politics will also benefit you. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.